collided this increase of form, and I may be wrong, with the fact that he's now with young Mr. Griffiths, and you know, and is it possible that the young pretender to the throne is now better than Terry Griffiths? Is he gone up in the rankings? It's fantastic to see, but Marco Fu seems to have more belief around the table. The interesting thing is, can he beat the Predator out there? And this is a fascinating matchup.
And also the other thing Jonathan mentioned, he's had a hard match there last night. He's gone through the ringer to get through. First session of this could be very important, this opening session for him.
It could be very important. I think we've got a contrast of styles here. I think if it gets into a tactical battle, I agree with Steve. I think Mark Selby will be favourite. I think Marco's got to take chances. You've got to try and keep this match open, because I think of the two, he will score heavier than Mark Selby. I know that's a strange thing to say, but when Marco gets in the balls, he looks like winning frames in one visit.
But his opponent is a competitive animal, isn't he?
That's right, yes, but I think, you know, Wayne and Marco have been on a journey so far in this tournament. I don't think anything that Mark Selby can throw at those two will deter them from the mission they're on. And plenty of people throughout this season have been saying Marco Fu is a genuinely potential world champion this year. So this could be Mark Selby's toughest test so far.
OK, boys, thanks very much. Look forward to listening to you this afternoon. Let's get Rob Walker to bring the players out.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Time for the second two quarters in this year's Betfred World Snooker Championship. As we've just seen, four of the very best in the business waiting backstage, ready to go toe-to-toe for a place in the semis this year in Sheffield. Please welcome, first of all, a player back in the quarterfinals for the first time in 5 years, coming through qualifying and conceding only 5 frames so far here at the Crucible this year. It's the best we've seen from him in Sheffield for quite some time. From Glasgow, when he's good, he's on fire. Here's Stephen Maguire. And his opponent, whose victory over former world champion Graham Dott has seen him through to a 5th successive Crucible quarter-final. Runner-up, of course, in 2013. He's this season's World Grand Prix winner with 3 ranking titles in all. He is, without doubt, now very comfortable up here on the world's biggest stage. He's the Hawk, Barry Hawkins. On table 1, here comes a player who came through a monumental match against Neil Robertson last night to book his 4th Crucible quarter-final. He has been in superb form this season, winning the Scottish Open in December and storming back up the world rankings. One of the most important players ever to emerge from Asia. From Hong Kong, he's Marco Fu. And finally, a player who this season alone has added 4 ranking titles to his collection, including the China Open earlier this month. He's now been world #1 for an incredible 115 consecutive weeks. He is, of course, the defending world champion, the jester from Leicester, Mark Selby!
So, first session of the Hawkins-Maguire match on the red button and via the BBC Sports app and website. Now, last night, Mark Selby quietly working away on his practice routines backstage while Stephen Hendry and I were on the air with that Marco Fu Neil Robertson finale. And he will have seen how much that gripping contest took out of them both. So how much has Marco got to give 14 hours later? And how much does Mark Selby still have tucked away in the tank? Let's find out with Steve Davis and John Virgo.
Yes, thank you, Hazel. It will be a very interesting first session, this, no doubt. As you say, Marco was put through the ringer last night, and that's not the best break-off shot. But he's here in the quarter-final and playing the defending champion. So he needs to be at the top of his game. But first chance for Mark. Right in the heart of the pocket. Type of shot he'd have been playing on the practice table. Played it nice, played it confidently as well. Staying well short of the baulk line to leave an option of colours. Bottom follow through, screwing back off the screen. Just overrun it a fraction. The reason I say that, I don't think the black goes into the opposite corner. Well, we might be able to pot this and just cannon off the red to the right of it. Stay on the black, played it well. Very important, these first frames, Steve, aren't they? I know you used to set a lot of stock by them.
Yeah. You think, oh, there's plenty of time in the best of 25 match, but even in a match of this length, when you look back at it, the opening frames can be the turning points. It has happened.
13.
Not exactly the turning points, but the critical points in a match. A nice deft touch there.
20.
That's excellent control of the pace of the cue ball, Mark Selby. Tables in general now pretty uniform, so you can trust them much more than you used to, especially a shot that doesn't require any bounces off a cushion for certain.
$21.
Couple of loose reds to play on before he considers going into the cluster.
Bit of a kick on that shot, but didn't really make much difference to the outcome.
28.
Up for the blue now. Probably the right time to consider going into the pack.
29.
Although not from that position. At least not directly.
Well, he did take the opportunity to go into them. The problem is, when you don't go into them
34.
directly and you're coming off a cushion, you haven't got a lot of pace in the cue ball. Has he been unlucky?
Brilliant effort. It really was. Not only to get the power on and control the speed of the shot, but also the correct amount of side spin to get into the pack.
Just went,
35.
just went.
Bit closer to that red than he would have wanted, but he struck it well. He could go into the side of the pack now, but it'd be the wrong shot.
$40.
Probably aim to be low on this black, and then you can open reds up, should he so wish.
41.
I would imagine a glance on that red, pretty full, in the centre of the pack could show dividends, but looks like he's digging a bit deeper than that. Oh, I fancied the stun into them more than the screw back.
I don't think he'd be too happy when the black's respotted as we watch it again.
48.
Didn't like
you
that.
can see the backspin.
I thought that was asking for a bit of trouble, but it's tough to criticise a world #1 and world champion.
Anyway,
I feel a bit uncomfortable doing it, to be quite honest.
well, don't do it. Send a break. He probably
Mark
played it
Selby,
like that. He was
48.
probably trying to arc the cue ball into the reds and just caught the wrong red. But good contribution, and just one of those things, went into them. But he made the most of that poor break-off shot from Marco.
Doesn't want that red to be a tempter into the middle, and it is. It's certainly not a guaranteed pot, especially with the cue ball on the underneath the cushion, but you'd expect him to get it. He's had a bit of table time, got the cue action going.
Yes, such was the
1.
the fact that he was tight under the cushion, as Steve said. He just had to concentrate on the pot and trust the luck for position, and didn't really get a good kiss on the brown.
It's not a guaranteed snooker behind the brown. You could use a colour to try and screw in behind it. Going to be tough to snooker at Marco and all balls.
Mark Selby, 1.
I think he's done it very well. Trying to guarantee snookering Marco on the extreme reds on the table. It was pretty critical, but could have got a bit of a headache for Marco Fu here.
Yes, I'm trying to see an escape route. It's not easy to see one. To hit a red and not leave a possible pot on. Try and nestle on the red that's tight to the right side cushion. If you nestled on it, you'd leave the cue ball in an awkward place. It's the only thing I can think of at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest problem is that you can get round the back of the brown on the left-hand side, but it's more or less straight into the cushion, and it's just so much more difficult to judge hitting into a cushion more or less immediately. So he could be miles out with this.
Yeah, and the big problem is there are a couple of reds available below the pink. Oh, and he's run into them. Needs a bit of luck here. And you know, I think he's had some.
Yeah. I think he played it with an element of hit and hope.
Well, does this red just below the pink go to the right middle? If it does, he's not had any luck. Oh, it does. Now, it looks clear from there, but because Mark isn't right in line with it, it'll look a lot tighter from where he's standing. But it definitely just goes.
Some players might have been forgiven for playing that slower to try and make the most of the pocket. But Mark Selby rammed it in. Confident pot. Also, where he got the cue ball, should he have missed it, wasn't guaranteed to have left anything up. That wasn't a good shot, though.
5.
A big misjudgment, John.
Yeah, there's so much margin for error. He's put himself under a little bit of pressure here because of that poor positional shot. But he's looking solid. He's looking very solid.
He has a very controlled final pullback and delivery. It is very mechanical and very solid under pressure. Repeats all the time. In many ways, is the ultimate snooker machine.
30.
That's red to go 63 ahead with just 59 remaining.
14.
First frame over. No doubt. Well, in all honesty, Marco Fu's not done a lot wrong. Okay, poor break-off shot. But at this level, at this stage of the tournament, you don't have to do a lot wrong to lose a frame.
22.
No, the ante's been upped. Ooh.
Well, he's missed a black, but I don't think Marco, unless he
doing a
wants a bit
frame.
of table time
Mark's up.
practice. No, he's not in this concession. So Mark Selby looked very solid. It was an impressive first frame. 1-0, defending champion.
Well, Mark Selby off to a good start, and a lot